Okay, so I got one more here. This is titled, Why Are Union Bosses Trying to Change the Illinois Constitution? On YouTube, posted by some person or group or entity named Illinois Policy. Okay, Miss Illinois Policy, what say?
Government unions get control of an entire state. Chaos, disruption, uncertainty. The Chicago Teachers Union provides a real-world example of what happens when a government union has too much power. CTU has gone on strike 3 times in 3 school years, leaving kids and parents helpless as unelected union bosses close schools. These work stoppages have led to over 330,000 school children missing days on end of in-person education. In January 2022, parents were given just hours to develop a backup plan when the union decided to shut down schools. But CTU's political muscle and their willingness to flex it could become the blueprint for schools and government at all levels if Illinois' powerful government sector unions get what they're asking for at the polls this coming November. An amendment to the Illinois...
So this is, who is this? Why are you posting all this? And I don't believe a single word. I don't believe you believe anything that you're saying. I think you are reading this. I think somebody else wrote this script for you and you're the one reading this. 2,400 people have checked this out. Illinois is trying to unionize, trying to make the right to unionize. They are trying to add the right to unionize into the Illinois Constitution. And they're making it sound like these big unions, and they keep on pointing out the Chicago Teachers Union, and I wonder why. The diversity, is that what it is? And look at the damn Chicago Teachers Union. Is that what you want? Is that what you want to run the... You know, it's incredible that being an American, you gotta be an individual, you know, go get your money. But don't you ever want to just, like, be all on board with something? Like, everybody's on board? Don't you want some solidarity? Don't you want, hey, we're in this together. Yeah, we want the corporation to succeed, but we also want good wages and safe working conditions and perhaps benefits if we're... So yeah, you know, we don't want to sink the corporation, but we do want to be treated with dignity and respect. And without the unions, you have no leverage. It's just at-will employment with one fucking tyrannical dictator, you know, asshole who could just be like, oh, I don't like that damn smirk you gave me the other day.
That would give
You're fired.
Union bosses more power than state law or the people elected to represent.
This just cracked me up, this video. It just seems like it's over the frickin' top.
Unions say the amendment only bans right to work. But actually, Union-backed Amendment 1 would place 4 provisions into the Illinois Constitution.
Listen to the 4 provisions.
1, a fundamental right to organize and bargain. 2, the right to bargain over wages, hours, working conditions, economic welfare.
Economic?
Virtually anything.
I don't trust any motherfucker that says economic.
Prohibition forbidding lawmakers from ever interfering.
You ain't working class. Economic. That's stuck up. You think you're better than other people.
Prohibition against right to work laws.
It's showy.
Here's how this plays out.
Well, the economics, yeah, like she's got an economic model.
And go on strike to get their demands met. Lawmakers won't be able to restrict what unions can negotiate or limit when they can go on strike. What's more, lawmakers would never be able to repeal a little-known Illinois provision that allows many union contracts to override conflicting state and local laws and regulations.
Well, there you go. Actually, by allowing people to unionize, you're actually hurting the unions, because when you have unions, unions can override federal and state laws, but no, you're going to take away. So actually, it's not just bad for everybody, but it's bad for the unions themselves. What's bad for the unions? To allow the workers to unionize? Wait a second. That's the whole point of a union, is for them to be able to, you know, organize for better wages and working conditions. I know. Are you CEO? Mm-hmm. You union bust? Sure do. TYT? Jink? You gare.
Unions will be able to rewrite law through union contracts, leaving residents with no recourse and no way to hold anyone accountable. Teachers' unions in Illinois have already threatened to strike 164 times, then actually taken to the picket lines 48 times in the past 10 years, according to annual reports filed by the Illinois Educational Labor Relations Board. Amendment 1 would lead to even more disruption for Illinois students and families. No other state constitutions include any of these provisions, let alone all four, giving unions in Illinois the most extreme powers in the nation. Amendment 1 is...
I actually believe we have a right to unionize and a right to work. Is that possible? I don't know. But why wouldn't we have a right to unionize? No. You working people cannot get together to collectively bargain for better wages. What? It might be hard to do, but don't everybody know that you can do it? Like you have all this labor law. Why are union bosses? This is just incredible propaganda. I feel like if this is the opposition, they've already won. They've already won. And let's finish this off, and then I'll read verbatim what the actual
threat to kids and families across the state. Illinois voters will decide the fate of Amendment 1 on Election Day this November.
Wow. So that was very solemn. She seemed very, serious, and I'm sure she read every constitution in America. She probably read all 50 states. She had all the 50. She had, Indiana, Kentucky, and she compared, all of them to Illinois, and she's just like, wait a second. None of these have a right to unionize. And that's true, but is that a good thing? We're supposed to be America. We're supposed to be the land of freedom, right? And we don't have a right to unionize in our Constitution. We don't have a legal constitutional right to unionize. We got a natural right to unionize. Of course we do. So what do I want to say about this? Nothing. I just want to read the Amendment 1 would add the following language to Article 1 of the Illinois Constitution. A. Employees shall have the fundamental right to organize and to bargain collectively through representatives of their own choosing for the purpose of negotiating wages, hours, and working conditions, and to protect their economic welfare and safety at work. No law shall be passed that interferes with, negates, or diminishes the right of employees to organize and bargain collectively over their wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment and workplace safety, including any law or ordinance that prohibits the execution or application of agreements between employers and labor organizations that represent employees. Required membership in an organization as a condition of employment. The provisions of this section are controlling over those of Section 6 of Article 7. So, does that last part include any law or ordinance that prohibits the execution or application of agreements between employers or labor organizations that represents employees required membership in an organization as a condition of employment? That goes right after a right to work. A right to work means you could be a scab. Here's how I look at the thing, okay? So if you got Levi Strauss, you got a corporation, they're making a bunch of jeans, and they got a union, and the union says, let's strike, but they're a bunch of spoiled fucking, they get made so much money in the society is... they are essential, but they're expendable. And so you had plenty of scabs that was willing to take their job as is with the benefits and the wages and the conditions as is. If that's the case, then that means you took a gamble. You organized, you have a union, you struck, and the employers found enough scabs to override your strike. Now you got to go find employment in a different place. But you got, hopefully you start a union shop and all you guys look for different jobs in different places, and maybe that'll start a lifelong friendship because that's some solidarity. If that's the case, Levi Strauss, you try to unionize and you organize and you won, right? That's if you lost. If you organize and won, well, shit, that means the workers are going to be happier. And if Levi's making money and the workers are happier, that means everybody's fucking winning. Everybody is winning. The CEOs and the upper echelon making all that money. Workers are coming in, doing the damn job. They're okay. They're not all disgruntled and pissed off. And you're not hurting, mental health of dozens and dozens of people. I think basically, do you believe in the right to unionize? And I think if you believe in the working families of America If you're on the side of the working class, on the side of working families in America, you'd be on the side of unions. Even if just the idea of unions. I know there are corruption and some other things that's going on with unions, but ultimately people should be able to gather together, have a wildcat strike, collectively bargain, get a contract. They should be able to unionize. And so ultimately, I hope this passes. It's written a little bit strong, and it might say something about no right to work laws, and right to work laws is kind of written in a way that says you get to crack that egg. So to finish off my Levi's thing, if the scabs can override them, then that means the workers were being spoiled. But if the working conditions were terrible and they can't find any scabs, or it's awful and the scabs are getting injured, or they can't do the job as good as the seasoned workers, and ultimately the employer says, you know what, all they want is another dollar onto their wage, and they just want a little bit more respect, and they just want, to be able to have a health care plan, to chip into a health care plan. Okay, I'm okay with all those things. They say that, then they get their seasoned workers back, then that means the scab, the right to work or whatever, didn't fucking succeed. So I think it's just the ebb and flow of the thing. If it's a terrible conditions and they're striking and it makes sense, then, listen to them. If it's not much ado about nothing, but if they're kind of, and also compare and contrast within their industry. If they're teachers, you don't really want to compare and contrast, compare to other cities or something. But, yeah, you don't want to be greedy, and you don't want to sink the corporation. You don't want to take so much money away from and that the thing doesn't make any money at all, because that means everybody loses. So, it's all about balance, man. Just being fair and balanced. Speaking of fair and balanced, I wonder how in the hell is he doing these days?